case, we've got to go to Desert Palace no matter what. The book is absolutely required, but it looks like we are off.
Yes, indeed there. And we got a quick chest. We've got red crystals in Turtle Rock and in Thieves Town. This is all dungeons. And we got some early bombs from Fantallis' side, so we're going to get an early check of Hype Cave.
Yeah, it's always nice to get those bombs early, and I believe I saw it was a blue pendant over on Misery Mire.
Now, what's pendant and what's crystal is not terribly important in terms of what dungeon you have to avoid, because this is all dungeons. You're going to need all of them, but in case something ends up being in Sasha's pocket or something ends up being on the pedestal, it's a good thing to take note of.
Yeah, definitely. And you know that Hype Cave, you know, you might think, well, that wasn't a great Hype Cave. For Inverted, though, getting that many early bombs, as well as getting 650 rupees to where you don't have to worry about farming rupees for this early game, that is definitely hype.
That is correct. There's a lot of stuff here in the early Dark World Overworld clear that requires money, so it's easy to run yourself out of cash if you're not paying attention.
And he's also gonna, Fantallis is gonna save some time here as Glan, you know, starting from the Dark Sanctuary, is going into Skullwoods. Took a death on purpose there just to farm these bombs, whereas Fantallis, you know, getting those bombs, being able to go into Hype Cave, is not gonna have to do this.
That is correct. I still love this new Phoenix Wright sprite that we've got here. So it's always good to see all the multitude of new sprites that this version is bringing us.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites of the new version.
And not only if we didn't get enough, ooh, we got some arrows, and that's not terribly useful right now. I must have mistook those for the silver arrows for a second, but they're not. But more rupees from the digging game is always a good fallback if you don't get any from the early chest. But we've got Glan finding the hammer in Skull Woods.
So that's nice in the suggestion that if they have to die of Thieves Town, they don't have to leave a chest behind potentially, if there's something in there at this point. But then you also think that might mean you have to kill him or kill Blind with a hammer and very low hearts.
Well, that, and it's our first normal attacking item that is in the stock required.
And Glan is going to have to be a little careful here. These Gibdos will kill him in one hit, and he's going to kind of have to hope that this upper room, the Gibdo's not sitting in the doorway, which he's not. That's
always good. Most things in the Dark World will two-shot you at this point in the game.
Yep, and Glan taking another death on purpose there to just go back to the front.
With only 4 health, and it's actually a pretty efficient death warp to be able to take. And we've got Fantallis picking up that hammer right behind. And with not much else place to go, Glan is going to head out of and check the rest of Skull Woods at the moment. Perhaps pick up a few more bombs along the way as well.
Yeah, he did pick up the big key in that last chest there in the middle part of Skullwood, so he's able to get this chest. And when you're only sitting at like 2 or 3 hearts, you really probably aren't going to risk a bomb jump.
Yeah, you can only do a few extra bomb jumps there because it's going to chunk your health pretty easily so far.
Glan kind of getting that news that, hey, there's bombs in Link's house.
That's always something you really want to see in the inverted mode. Alright, looks like Fantallis is finishing up the rest of of Skull Woods clear, as far as we can clear it right now. Whereas Glan is following right behind in that overworld clear. Going to probably be heading straight to Stumpy next and to the digging game. And from there on, I don't believe either runner has checked out the Village of Adcast just yet, no?
No, neither runner has been in Village of Outcasts, so that would be a possibility. The other possibility, if one of them wanted to do something a little different, and if we see it on anybody, it would probably be on Glan's side. But with that hammer, they could get to the Palace of Darkness area as well already.
Yes, you can now go up that bridge and be able to get through all the obstacles they're in. And you have to hope that something is in the first chest or first few chests that you can get to, and that isn't bow-locked. It's not as accessible as Eastern Palace is for comparison. Most players, if they don't find anything early on, may go just check out Thieves Town as well. But if that ends up being a bust, yeah, Palace of Darkness is a good place to go to.
Yeah, and we'll see what kind of, maybe how confident they are with their boss fights as well, with that blind potentially on the low health, or if they, dip the first 4, if they get something major like the bow or something like that, decide to leave.
All right, so we've got fantallis heading into a Village of Outcasts right now. It's pretty easy enough clear to do. So let's see if there's anything within the C-shaped house that we are approaching.
Yep, and Glan saved and quit to the Dark Sanctuary, so probably making his way also to the Village of Outcasts.
Well, it's pretty much not much of a difference between them right now, just a matter of a few seconds at most, but it's still early on, so that's to be expected, to be honest.
Yeah, really the time difference is just kind of how they started. Fantallis starting from the Dark World, or from Link's house, getting those bombs, was able to check Hype Cave, and Glan kind of had to do that bomb farming in Skull Woods. But not a huge difference. Oh, well, there's an important item. We got a book. Nothing super we can do with it right now, but that's our access to Desert Palace. It is fully required if Desert Palace is a crystal, if you're not doing all dungeons, but in this case, it wouldn't have mattered.
That is correct. It's another ice rod, so to speak, to at least have off of your mind.
Oh, we got a sword, though, in the chess game, so if we do have to fight blind, which more than likely that's probably what we're going to look at doing, especially with the sword now. It's not a hammer fight anymore. You at least get that sword.
That will make things a lot easier. It's a pity you can't really change the sword sprites to match along with the character sprites there, because I honestly would love to have seen the Phoenix Wright sprite change the sword into a giant glowing pointing finger.
I think if that was me playing Phoenix Wright, though, I would have to yell objection every single time I swung my sword. My voice might not be able to take an entire seed.
Would we be able to take care of it? But we will be able to take care of those gloves that we found. That and the hammer, we just are 1 moon pearl away from having Light World access already, not even 8 minutes into the seed.
Yep, just need a moon pearl, and, there's a pretty good chance we're going to see it here. If not, right now we're looking at the pod area.
Quite possibly. Now, one other thing about Inverted Seed that we should probably make note of is that Aga 1 and Aga 2 have had a dungeon swap there, and so that the entrance to Ganon's Tower no longer requires the crystals. In fact, if you go in there, you get into the normal Castle Tower dungeon, and vice versa. Where you would normally go into Castle Tower now is Ganon's Tower, and does require the crystals. Alright, so we've got both runners right now in Thieves Town. Glan is just a few seconds ahead, whereas fantallis makes his way through the Hellway. So we'll be coming up on one of our first hint tiles. With a new in version 30 is these now hint tiles, which will give you information about a certain item location. A unique item is in plain sight. That can only refer to a few things. I'm not sure anything that we've run across just yet. I don't believe so.
Yeah, nothing in plain sight just yet. Most of that is Light World related, but yeah, that would be what we're looking at. Let's see. question in chat about the rule sets. We are looking at an all dungeons inverted with randomized sword, and normal is our difficulty.
All right, looks like fantallis is opening up the hole in the attic to let the light through, so that we can fight blind at our leisure now. Probably be checking out the rest of the basement of Thieves Town. We'll see how well our runners have practiced this. Well, we've got 5 heart containers right now. That's not too bad. Running into making contact with blind will chunk you quite a bit. Is it like, what, 2 or 3 hearts?
2 hearts, since they don't have any blue mail. It's going to be 2 hearts if they run into blind's head or blind himself, then 1 heart for the fireballs.
Yeah, and with all those fireballs zipping about there, that can chunk you from 100 to 0 in no time at all.
Yeah, thankfully blind is a fight. You know, with the sword, it's going to be a little bit easier to do. It can be a scripted fight, as in if you're hitting blind pretty much exactly when he can take damage after his iframes, and you have your movement down, you can do it and know exactly where the fireballs are going to go all the time, know where your safe spots are and everything like that.
Pretty much, though, but if you slip up and have to redo the fight, you're pretty much having to wing it the entire way.
And we're about to see that fight on fantallis' side, so we'll see how he does.
Alright, that's phase 1 down. Now, I lost count. How many items have we seen in the dungeon so far?
Blind does have an item.
Ooh, that is intriguing indeed.
Because I don't think we've seen the map yet. Well, fantallis did get off script, but he finished it off without any damage anyways, and yep, blind had an item, but it's only 10 arrows.
Nothing much here. So from here, let's see. Logically, we could still go up to Death Mountain here. The path to Bumper Cave is now in the light world instead of the dark world, and the path to Death Mountain is the opposite as well. So we could sequence break our way up there, but the logic should not require that. So where would you check next?
I mean, logically, we know there has to be something in the pod area, either on the pyramid, at Catfish, or in pod itself. But still doing the sequence up to Death Mountain, wouldn't it be a bad idea? You do get, if you save the old man, which you can still get the save point. You can still make it over to Super Bunny Cave. You know, maybe you find something there that's important. That's not, because if we would find the Moon Pearl, it could be a while before somebody makes their way up here. We won't find the lamp, but the lamp would technically put Aga on the table as well as all of this on Death Mountain right now.
Possibly, indeed. It looks like fantallis is agreeing with you as he's making that sequence break through the dark cave passage. But Glan is heading straight towards what I assume is going to be Palace of Darkness.
Probably we'll check the pyramid first. We'll see if he decides to check Catfish or not before heading into pod.
Now, one interesting thing to note is just a small minor trivia point is that whereas you can find the dark man or the old man in the dark world, the actual place you have to deliver him to is still in the light world. So you have to make this trek all the way up the mountain, go and convert yourself back to the light world, and then finish off the delivery.
And I do like to joke that the old man has a moon pearl in his pocket and rarely ever wants to share it with you.
All right, we've got green pendant on Eastern Palace. Vanilla green pendant. Interesting thing to see. Shoot, I didn't see what was on top of Spectacle Rock.
I actually missed that one as well. Let me see. Just 20 rupees.
Ah, well. So, nothing interesting from the old man. So, let's check out Super Bunny Cave in case of anything interesting shows up. But Glan is heading, over towards the Catfish area. Going to see what Mr. Grumpy has here for us today.
Well, Fantallis would have to do a save and quit before being able to hit his Super Bunny Cave, since he's in the light world with no mirror. He's going to do what's inside Spectacle Rock, or at least check what's here. See if anything good. Nope, just a heart piece. And there's our Moon Pearl, though, on the catfish.
Looks like the catfish just horked it up for us there, so we now have full light world access, and we have the book. So both Eastern Palace and Desert Palace are available to us, although we cannot complete either of them as of just yet. Eastern Palace still would require a bow to defeat the Igors inside of there, and Desert Palace requires either a lamp or fire rod to be able to get to be able to complete that. But now we have the treasure trove of what's available to us in the light world, and so it's like we're just starting to see it all over again. And now we can just do whatever and get all the items from within. Starting off here with what's inside the dam.
We got these bug net.
Well, you want to find a unique item, but that's not exactly the unique item that we want. I think, well, we have now access to catching fairies, but that's not really the biggest point of contention in the first place.
Yep, and Fantallis gets a Super Bunny Cave check. We got just a piece of heart and 20 rupees, so nothing major. This is probably the best thing for Fantallis. He didn't really lose a lot of time doing this check, but if there would have been something major there, it could have helped him even more. But he knows at this point there has to be some kind of progression over here in the pod area. Hopefully he decides to go to the catfish before diving into pod, though.
Yeah, I would say that given that you can't really go that far in pod, I would go towards catfish before dipping the dungeon for the first time.
Glan using some bomb strats there on the mini Moldorms.
The bombs have a surprising amount of hitbox in them, but we find the Cannon Burner and the hook shot at the mini Moldorm cave, and a red boomerang just for extra gusto.
Indeed, and we did also find a heart container, which happened to be the Sank heart.
Yep, that one, the only heart container that will automatically refill your health no matter what, so that's always good to have.
Ooh, unfortunately, Fantallis is actually going to make the trek to pod first.
Well, we'll have to see what he finds within there. Might be something useful, but it's not the light world access that we are hoping for. You can access at least the first chest, at the very least. If you get a small key from that, possibly the rest of or a good portion of the dungeon. But with just the hammer and sword, he can still do a good portion of it.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes in pod. I kind of hope that it ends up being bow locked for Fantallis, just because that's going to force him to go to catfish right away. Oh, race game.
I saw something red in there, but I didn't see if it was 20 rupees with a red mail or a. No, it couldn't have been the red mail. We don't even have the blue yet.
It was not red mail. It's something you want. It's red. Usually goes on your feet and makes you go fast.
Ooh, zoom shoes. Awesome. That's what we want to see. Have to go fast through the race game to get the zoomy shoes.
Pod is not bow locked, so Fantallis is going to be going in deeper. I'm pretty sure speedrunners are not ever going to call those Pegasus boots trash.
I do not believe so here. This is going to be a major time save for Glan until Fantallis manages to get that pearl and go towards the race game. And the shoes are immediately useful. We've got the Master Sword on the library right away.
Yep, not only the speed upgrade, but you get a sword upgrade as well. Can't really say no to that.
And guess what? We've got another 10, 11, 12 items or so left here in the Kakariko proper to check out as well.
And, let's start with more hype in the Kakariko area. We got a fire rod now.
Kakariko is just showering us with everything today. Well, down below, yes, and then even up here.
Oh. So this dip in a pod for Fantallis might cost him some time, but might pay off. He finds the mirror.
Ooh, that is very useful. We don't know how long it'll be until Glan gets that. And so you being able to mirror instead of having to save and quit everywhere will save a good amount of time as well.
Yeah, and with Glan having access to the light world, he has a lot of locations he can check. And, you know, the idea of going in a pod without the bow when you have so many of these locations right now might not be the most ideal situation. So it might be a while for him to get that. And Fantallis, you know, with the book, and he's going to get the boots, as well as a fire source, he'll be able to clear desert. So that might take him to that area.
Glan just picked up the flippers, though, from the well, so we've got even more locations open to us right now.
Yeah, actually, with everything we found, and we know where with the mirror, when Fantallis makes it there, he'll actually be able to go to Swamp Palace if he wants to.
Yeah, we've got all three things that we need: boots, flippers, and hookshot to be able to fully complete it, and the hammer. 4 things.
Yep, we have everything. And yeah, Fantallis at this point, he has to go to Catfish. He has nowhere else he has accessible. He knows that there's something here, and it pretty much at this point either is going to be like a lamp or the Moon Pearl, more than likely. Could be a couple other things, but those would open up the most locations. And he's probably hoping for a Moon Pearl, which he'll be very, you know, might feel a little bit behind because it's literally the last place he could have checked. But probably will feel good knowing it's like, okay, I can go to the light world, and maybe that mirror dip that he got might be just the thing he needed.
Okay, I like that freeze frame on that sprite right there. Objection! That Moon Pearl placement was objectionable!
But Fantallis does have his Moon Pearl, is going to save and quit, and, well, that, I believe silvers are a unique item in plain sight, so that might have been where our hint led us to.
With hints like that, you're always wondering, was that what it was referring to, or is it referring to something else?
Well, we're going to get another one of those plain sight checks. It looks like Glan is going to go check what's on Aga Ledge.
Now, this is all dungeons. We have to defeat Aga 1 anyways, but nope, we don't want 20 rupees by defeating Aga 1. Most runners save Aga 1 for last because it gives you a full heal right before you would normally do the Ganon fight, so that is always very welcome to have.
Yeah, and Fantallis is going to save a little bit of time here. He has the mirror, so he's able to kind of just mirror glitch one of those blocks away. Couple screen sharing decisions that are going to save him.
It's not the biggest time save in the world there, but every second counts when you're doing a rando like this.
Oh, so he is going to go to the desert area with that mirror.
Interesting there. You can get Agina's cave. Can't quite get the tablet until you get the Master Sword, but you can at least check on what's on it, but it's only bombs, so we can just safely ignore that and trek onwards to our good old friend Agina.
Yep, he'll be able to check Agina, Checkerboard Cave. He'll be able to go into desert and check to see if his boots locked or not, which won't really matter because we're going to find the boots shortly for him anyways. And then after that, he'll be able to mirror over to Misery Mire.
Now, we don't have any pendants to go in... Sorry, not pendants. Medallions to go into Misery Mire, but we can at least check the area, as well as go over to the Checkerboard Cave while we're in the desert area as well.
Yep, Checkerboard, one of the, I believe it's 3 areas that kind of got changed for inverted, because typically you need the mirror. Pretty much any location you would have needed the mirror for, you can just kind of walk into once you make it to the light world. Well, we got a shield, but he's going to nope out of it.
We don't need no stinking shields.
Piece of heart on the ledge, and Fantallis is going to mirror.
And at least get us what's inside of inside of the swamp hut, although we can't really check all that much else aside from getting the knowledge of what medallion is required for Misery Mire.
Ooh, Glan is making the play into Ice Palace.
Interesting choice. He has the fire rod, so he'll be able to defeat most of the monsters in here, and get 3 hint tiles to boot. If you get the magic cape is inside of the purple chest. Good thing to know. There's not anything on Bumper Ledge today, but in case we want to go into Spike Cave, it might be something worth finding.
Well, we already have Cane of Burna, so we wouldn't even really need that for Spike Cave at this point.
They have identical magic consumption rates, correct?
Consumption rate is different. I believe Burna actually, it takes more to activate, but it uses less as it's going through, and then the cape is the other way around. Uses less to actually activate, but uses more as you go through.
Interesting indeed. So we've got fantallis here inside of Desert Palace, just finding a heart inside that first chest, so can't check anything else without getting that key. I did not see what was on the torch today. Did you happen to notice it?
I don't believe he even checked. He went right for that chest because that's going to tell him immediately if it's key or boot locked or not. So he knows it's boot locked. That's why he just kind of left. Only thing that room would have helped would have been if he had gotten the hint out of it, which might have been one of the reasons why Glan decided to dive into Ice Palace. Even with kind of the low equipment, you know, that you might want to go in here with, it does have 3 hints.
It does have 3 hints there, but it's also got a lot of strong enemies that will chew through your life bar like candy.
Yep, especially those puffs at the end of the seed. He makes nice, quick work of Ice Palace.
So far, so good. Oh, misses the hookshot and has to redo the bomb jump. Not the end of the world, but still going to cost some time.
Yep. And fantallis sees those boots. He's going to be stopping for those, probably wishing he would have had them.
Yeah, it's getting everything. We got Murphy's Law a little bit. Everything is in the last place you check.
Yeah, which even with the boots, it would have just given him the keys to technically clear, but we still would have been missing a fire rod or the lamp. The hint off Glan, we know that the green pendant is not worth anything.
That is always a good thing to know. I mean, it's Eastern Palace is a quick dive regardless. And Fantallis is going to be picking up his Master Sword. Now, as we have already know, he has the mirror, whereas Glan has not even looked at Palace of Darkness just yet. So we might send him in a different direction than Glan. I may send him to Swamp. Alright, so Fantallis is picking up the Smith's Chain. It does not require Titan's Mitts like it does in normal mode, as you can just mirror to the Froggo and head on from there. So we'll be able to do that, and was it Fantallis who saw the hint about the magic cape, or was that Glan who did?
I believe that was Glan, so...
Well, it'll be useful, if not really the thing that you're hoping for right now. But Fantallis is checking out the hammer pegs. They're putting off that 5 unique item mini Moldorm cave.
Yeah, which is, you know, huge value, because we know at least, you know, the major thing there was definitely the hook shot, but still, there was a lot of value in there.
Mainly, yeah, the hook shot. I believe it also. Did it have the fire rod, or was that just regular? No, it was regular Kakariko that had the fire rod.
Yep, fire rod is right here.
In the back of the bar. Hopefully, the owner is not planning some insurance fraud.
Well, if he was, we stopped him. So, you know, Link saving Hyrule one bar at a time.
Alright, well, he's gonna be happy to find everything here in Kakariko, mainly that fire rod. Now with that fire rod in hand, do you go straight back to Skullwoods and finish that off while we're here?
I mean, if he's comfortable with doing Mothula at, you know, 7 hearts with Master Sword and Fire Rod, then, you know, why not? You're in the area, you could, even if you want, he could check the pedestal. That's something Glan didn't do. They do have the book, and they're kind of, you know, really close to the area of just being able to check it. And yeah, it's an all dungeon seed, so you're gonna have to clear all the dungeons anyways, but, you know, if you're looking for that one item and it was on the pedestal this whole time, that could make the difference.
Alright, and fantallis picks up his flippers as well. So, yeah, I mean, if it was me running the seat here, the flippers and the mirror just say Swamp Palace to me right now. But let's see where fantallis decides to go. That fire rod could point him towards Skullwoods as we are pondering. Or it might be something else. But meanwhile, we've got Glan versus Cold Stare on the table right now. We're going to be cracking over that icy shell with a few fire rod shots. And can we corner trap him? We get a good few shots off at the beginning there, but the puffs escape. But with some good hammer hits. And to get some good tempered sword damage right away. Gets smacked by an ice crystal, but gets a double hit by the puffs and goes down.
Yeah, he was on green mail only, so with sitting at the 6 hearts, he could only have taken 1 damage from the puffs, but that hit from the ice crystal put him into kill mode for a Cold Stare, and Cold Stare sensed blood and decided to attack.
They may look like puffs there, but these are sharks in the water. So that's, yeah, he's going to be saving that run of Ice Palace for another time. Ice Palace is long and tedious and full of ice physics. You don't want to go there unless you really have to.
Yep, and let's see, fantallis. He does see the 10 arrows. He is going to skip it, and he's going to the back of the Lost Woods, which can mean only one thing. Chat, it's time to get your pedestal hype in.
Or anti-hype in this case, apparently. Oh well.
Yep, hype was short-lived.
Yeah, inside of inverted mode, the pedestal, or at least, I'm sorry, inside of all dungeons mode, pedestal is just yet another check.
Yeah, just kind of one of those nice things to get out of the way if you know you need it, because then, like I said, if that's your one item, you know you just have to hit those pendant dungeons at that point.
Alright, fantallis making good work through Mothula's lair at the moment. Should be heading into the fight the big bug as we speak in just a few moments.
Yep, Glan, meanwhile, just kind of taking his time, clearing out the desert area. And if he wants to head into Desert Palace, which I kind of see him doing while he's here, he can full clear this dungeon.
That is correct. He has that fire rod, whereas fantallis did not at that when he did. So he can take and find whatever is on the Lambolas, even though even though it's not the longest dungeon in the world. And fantallis takes an unfortunate death to Mothula. Thankfully, it's not all that far of a run back to the front, back to the bug, but still a hard fight regardless.
Yep, and now he's going to go back there. He should have the magic to get back there, but I don't think he's going to really have any left from Mothula now. But these bosses, you know, outside of blind, they're not giving these players any mercy.
Yeah, these are Dark World bosses. They hit like a truck, and Mafia has been known to be difficult in all situations because with that erratic movement on the conveyors, plus the true damage from spikes, that can it'll be hard to position on him and hard to avoid damage as well, and so you can get shotgunned with him very easily.
All right, but fantallis versus Mothula round 2. And I think he had a grudge and decided to just take Mothula down as quickly as he could.
But who actually killed me the first time was you!
Ooh. Glan, probably not thinking about it, but there was that full magic pickup. Unfortunately, not sure if it's still going to be there for him. Nope, it is not.
Ooh, ouchies. I think it's a little bit from that pop, but he's still going to be wanting a little more to be able to light those torches at the end of the boss lead up to Landmolus.
Alright, so Glan looking for that item, though. Still not finding it, so it looks like one of our items are going to be on the Landmolus.
Alright, so where do you think fantallis is going to be going now? Looks like he's just clearing up some overworld checks while in the area. But
yeah, we've seen all this on Glan's side already, so none of this is really going to be new.
yeah, we are, just the back of Escape. There was nothing much in here. The question is Glan going to have enough well, he's definitely going to have enough magic right now. Although fire rod shots are expensive, but there should be, yes, just enough to light the torches.
Yeah, but this is something that Glan did not do. Fantallis is going to brave the dark.
Alright, so Glan has to fight Landmolus with pretty much just Master Sword as well. No arrows, silver or otherwise, and no magic for fire rod shots, so gotta do this the old-fashioned way.
Yep, and I believe Fantallis is in the room with the chest, just has to get it. Oh! We got the bow.
Ooh, very interesting indeed.
Yep, and seeing the save and quit out of Glan, does not surprise me whatsoever. I expect he's going to be making his way to the eastern pod area to clear both of those out. No lamp, so it's not within logic, but he hasn't even dived into pod yet, so this is 2 dungeons he needs to clear. Green pendant that he knows is worthless anyways, but still 2 full dungeons he's going to need to clear.
Yeah, that bow really opens things up after taking down the Landmolus, so finding the mirror here is just going to be a major routing advantage, given that he can, well, I'm surprised he's not doing Eastern first, well, he doesn't have the mirror, so he can't. So it's not the best time save in the world, now on further thought.
Yep, not a huge time save, but the fact that he has that bow right now, and Fantallis kind of already dived in to Desert Palace without being able to clear it, it might take him a while to get back there.
Glan loses a few rupees to have the Kiki the monkey scared off, but it's only a 10 rupee loss. That's just pocket change. Now, we're going to get a new check here from Fantallis. We're going to go heading up to the Zora area, so we'll be able to see both the Waterfall Cave and what's on Zora and Zora Ledge as well.
And Waterfall of Wishing, we've got a bunch of blue, but one of those is some blue goo, which is potion number 1, so we can check Sick Kid now.
Perhaps that potion will actually heal him this time. Who knows? And there's the Bombos medallion on the Zora Ledge. Interesting. Now, I believe, yes, that was the requirement for Misery Meyer, so he can go pick that up right now. And even, well, he has not checked out Mini Moldorm case, so he doesn't have that hook shot just yet, but he can get in with the boots if he so desires.
Yeah, hopefully he makes his way down there just because of Mini Moldorm Cave. That's a lot of items on Death Mountain just to begin with. Because we can pretty much check everything on Death Mountain, Dark Death Mountain now. And with the mirror, can check certain parts of Turtle Rock as well. Speaking of the mirror, Glan picks it up.
Alright, looks like Fantallis is heading finally down to the Mini Moldorm Cave as soon as he warps to the Light World. Or he might be even just going straight to Swamp as well. Hopefully he'll be able to find that hook shot instead of having to dip it. So yeah, my bets are on the Mini Moldorm Cave, and that might just lead him straight to the Swamp Palace that I personally been wanting to see for a while, but that's maybe my own bias speaking here.
Yeah, it looks like where he's heading, and we did get a hint on Glan's side, and it's kind of potentially a valuable hint. The powder and some cash are behind the big red bomb. Potentially, if they find the mushroom, they might try to hang on to it just for the fake powder, so they don't have to, so we're still missing quite a few items to be able to clear Turtle Rock. Still need Samaria and that ice rod.
That is right. This is an all dungeon seed, so it's a crystal anyway, so you'd have to do it regardless if it was all dungeons or not. But the Turtle Rock has a boatload of requirements to be able to get into it in the first place. So yeah, it's gonna be a while before we get that second 5/6 crystal. Ooh, what was that? What I thought I saw?
I saw some bombs on Glan's side in the big chest.
Okay, I saw something vaguely flute-shaped, but if it was just bombs, then that's much less of a big deal. But let's see. Glan is making some good work out of the Dark Maze. That's gonna be a hard thing to do. But runners of this caliber are pretty clever, and can make good work of that regardless.
Yep, and Fantallis just gonna finish off the rest of these flipper checks. Check the Lake Hylia Island. Nothing there. But we've still got the hobo.
Alright, what does our friend underneath the bridge got for us today? He gives a poor lawyer some money. Is he trying to hire him? Do you need a lawyer to figure out who put you under this bridge in the first place?
I mean, or that just could be all the money he has left over and explains why he is under the bridge.
Possibly, that works too. Alright, so now that Fantallis has all that gear from Mini Moldorm Cave, Let's see where he decides to head to next.
Oh, looks like Fantallis is going to be making the play into Swamp Palace.
With so many items in there, I don't blame him at all. That's why I've been hyping it up so much. But with knowing my luck there, it may or may not turn out to be a complete bust. We do know that that bow is on Desert Palace, and which will open up a lot of the seed. You get a hint tile seeing the hammers in Skullwood. Thank you, game. We already know that, but oh well.
I think Glan, with that fire rod, able to make short work of this dark room. Probably one of the more difficult dark rooms you have to deal with, especially if you don't have something like the fire rod.
Yeah, fighting those turtles in the dark is not a winning proposition. It's possible, but it's hard to spot them, and there's not really the best set way to deal with them. But we've got Glan inside of the Helmosaur King fight right now. We're going to be applying hammer to the forehead to take down that mask. And then we don't oh yeah, we do have silver areas that we got from the Thieves' Hideout. So one bop to the crystal, and that should do it.
One silver arrow right between King Helmosaur's eyes and that big crystal, and down he goes. For 10 arrows.
And an arrow saved is an arrow saved. But meanwhile, we have Fantallis inside of Swamp Palace, about to finish up the first half of it. We'll see if it decides to go the left side right now, or save that for later.
Well, finding the compass there, I think you almost want to check it just because I believe it's guaranteed to be an item over there now.
Have we already found the map yet? I was busy looking at Glan's side.
No, I don't believe he's found the map yet, but just finding the compass, at that point you have to, there's pretty much just guaranteed there has to be an item back there. Oh, or the big key to open the big chest up.
At least one item has to be on that left side in this case.
Alright, but Glan taking the portal, he's heading off to Eastern Palace.
Good choice. Good choice. You're here. You might as well finish it up. He already knows that there's nothing on the pendant, so he doesn't need to turn that in. But you can check what's in Sasha's closet instead of his pockets if you so desire. Alright, so we've got a little bit of divergence here. Glan has to make a long trek down to the bottom of Ice Palace again, whereas Fantallis has not found yet the bow. At this point, who would you think is ahead?
I think it really depends on what Fantallis actually does once he's finished with Swamp Palace. He's as close to Desert Palace as he's ever going to be at this point. So if he decides, I have all the items to go finish Desert at this point, plus he has the Bombos medallion, he could think I could go into Misery Mire too. I wouldn't be able to clear it if I do go in there unless I find Samaria inside of its own dungeon. But there is that whole idea that he could technically do that, and this is the closest, like I said, you're ever going to be to these dungeons at this point.
That would put him back in the running. That would put him a bit closer in terms of what you need to be able to finish his seed. Having that bow is one of the major pickups. But we'll see what he actually ends up doing. He's only about one dungeon clear behind at the present moment.
Yeah, and Glan for right now, he just kind of totally bypassed that hint tile. Maybe he'll grab it on the way back when he leaves the dark rooms.
Quite possibly, yes. I'm a bit surprised that he skipped it the first time, but we'll see wherein lies the logic. But so far, Swamp Palace is turning out to be a bust for Fantallis, so there's only like 1 or 2 items left. We've got this chest here, and then whatever is on Argus himself.
I'm just Argus, so yeah, so far Swamp Palace, other than this crystal we're going to find at the end, is going to be a bust at this moment.
Well, dungeon cleared is a dungeon cleared. A unique item is in desert.
You don't say.
Well, it's unlucky that Glan will be going here before finishing off desert, so it's more or less a journal hint at this point. Oh, don't you hate it when that happens there, when you get right in the position to put an air between, right in the Igor, but then it just falls asleep?
Yeah, it feels pretty bad.
Alright, but Fantallis takes down Argus and gets a... is that a bee or a fairy? It looks like a bee.
That was a bee in a bottle.
Well, it's better than a bee in a bonnet, but it's not the item that we were hoping to find.
No, but that is the 3rd dungeon down for a Fantallis.
And that's a good start there, but Glan takes down his 4th dungeon. So it still remains about a 1 item ahead. But he is heading over to desert, so that's a good sign from him.
Oh, never mind.
He saves and quits.
He saves and quits. Oh, the tease. Which, honestly, I don't blame him for, because he was probably thinking, it's like, hey, I can clear desert. That's wait a second. I've got the hook shot. I've got the hammer. I can go to Death Mountain and clear everything out at this point.
That's 7 items in Paradox Cave, plus 4 in Hookshot Cave. And even what's on the floating island, if it ends up being anything interesting. Glan finds the Quake Medallion on top, or in Sasha's closet, but we don't know if that will be useful yet or not.
Yeah, and really the only part that I don't like about the Plated Death Mountain right now, I mean, it does a lot of items, but if you're thinking, what do I have in logic right now? This is not within logic at all. We don't have a flute, we don't have a lamp. The only thing that would really, pay off here is if he ends up finding Samaria anywhere on Death Mountain, he'd be able to clear Misery Mire when he goes back to the desert area, which might push him there.
That would be a stroke of luck. We'll see if he can cash in on it. And Glan is heading over back to the desert area. We've already been to Mire, so let's see, thinking about dipping it now that he has one of the medallions, but it's not the right medallion. He has not been over. Yeah, he's just checking the hut and the medallion requirement.
Oh. Did you see what Fantallis found, though?
I did not. I was looking at Glan. What was it?
Cane of Samaria.
Oh, wow. That is huge.
So the reason why Glan skipped the green pennant is he did get a hint earlier that the village elder was holding a piece of heart. So he knows that green pennant is just worth a piece of heart. Isn't going to waste the time to look at what it is.
Alright, but Fantallis, with that cane of Samaria, I'm sure that's making him sing Death Mountain, or not Death Mountain, Misery Mire right now. But while we're up here, we can clear out Tower of Hera as well. So that might be definitely worth it while we're up here to take a trek there. The Hera doesn't have any hard requirements of its own, so this can be just an easy dungeon clear while we're in the area. So good routing choice. Meanwhile, Glan is heading back, Glan is heading into Swamp House for the first time. From Fantallis' side, we already know that there's not much in there, but it is another dungeon down, so this will give Fantallis a little bit of time to catch up.
Yeah, and these hints are, you know, top quality. Got hints pretty much on both screens at the same time. One talking about there's a unique item in Paradox Cave on Fantallis' side, and Glan checked Swamp Palace, which says, hey, the hammer is in Skull Woods.
Hey, the one item you needed to be able to find this hint in the first place is in a place that you already know about.
Phoenix gets a new suit, looks like. Oh. So flute, really not as big of a deal in inverted as it would be normal, but we do find out that flute is hiding in Misery Mire. What that would tell Fantallis at this point, though, is that he does have logical access to what he's been doing up here now.
The logic would require a double dip if you needed the flute to get access to Mire instead of the lamp. But we've pretty much checked everywhere that we can, and we have not found it. So the logic requires you to double dip Mire, but we are able to skip that now.
Being careful not to get shoved off by Moldorm here. 2 hammers to the tail and a spin from the Master Sword takes down Moldorm. And he's awarded with 50 rupees. So no basement trek is needed for Tower of Hera.
That's always a good thing to see. Phoenix locks away another evildoer. The accursed Moldorm ledge pusher.
And I guess Phoenix was getting his time in as playing the judge. Maybe he got sick of that old man that always is getting things wrong. Giving Moldorm the hammer himself.
You file a motion to push me down a ledge. Objection overruled!
Alright, but Fantallis, using that mirror, he is heading into Turtle Rock. Now, something major that we could find here is if he would find the ice rod within Turtle Rock itself.
That would be a very convenient find there, but there is still a treasure trove of items in here. We can get the Turtle Rock has 3 unique entrances to it that is aside from the front door. So we can get to pretty much wherever we want to, backwards as well as forwards.
Yep, and 5 unique, or 5, items that aren't dungeon items, but we found one of them there with that piece of heart. But it does mean we are going to find the big key somewhere up at the top. And we'll see if this is a key.
Ooh, good dodge on those chain chomps today.
Nope. So, I guess the big key could still be on Laser Bridge, though.
Thankfully, we do have easy access to that as well as finding Mimic Cave. So, but it looks like he's just deciding to dip on out unless he's making another trip to the top to be able to start at a different point in the dungeon.
Yeah, I believe he would have had to do that one way or the other. Gonna get a check on the Mimic Cave, though. No, he did not start on Laser Bridge.
He started around the big chest in that general vicinity and started working backwards from there. Alright, so Glan is going to be checking the left side of Swamp as well after taking down Argus, deciding to take that, going through that second instead of first, having to make that small trek through the first part of Swamp Palace again. But it's not the biggest time loss in the world, but it is not the most optimal way through there either.
But now we're about to see Laser Bridge.
Alright, we've got plenty of hearts and blue mail to go along with it to get these chests, but I've got a key that will allow us a bit deeper, but not what we want right now. Neither is a map or some bombs, so hoping that something's in this last chest for him if he doesn't get bumped off by the lasers.
More keys. So most of the items are actually in the very first part of Turtle Rock then. I believe there would have been one more item he could have actually checked in Turtle Rock. On the Crystal Roller Room, he just would have had to go backwards. But he's not going to for right now. He's going to save and quit, and we'll see where he's off to next.
He's starting out in Link's house, which, as I should note, is is swapped with the bomb shop. If you're looking to get those 6 crystals and go to Pyramid Fairy, the bomb shop is now in the light world. But with that, let's see where he decides to head.
This is looking like Desert Palace.
I'd be very glad to find that bow if he decides to make that head in that direction.
And I almost feel like this is definitely probably what he's looking at doing, just because of the fact he can also clear Mire, and he knows the flute's there. Like I said, he doesn't really need it at this point, but it's pretty much that knowledge that just gives him that everything on Death Mountain is within logic now.
Pretty much. And having that jump straight to Mire is pretty much the inverted equivalent of the Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace, back and forth loop-de-loo. Alright, meanwhile, Glan is finishing a bunch of overall checks that fantallis already did, so we may be seeing some convergence sooner rather than later at this point. From fantallis' side, he hasn't really checked out much of Death Mountain as it is right now. Doesn't probably want to take down Ice Palace again, go all the way down to Ice Palace just for Cold Stare. And without having that Cane of Samaria, can't really go into Misery Mire unless he really feels like he's forced to.
Yeah, Glan hasn't really been doing any sequence breaks where fantallis has, so I think Glan might be just trying to stay on logic. But we'll see if he wants to make that trek up, because there are a lot of items up on Death Mountain for him. And yeah, the hint, the question in chat, flute fire locked in Misery Mire, the hint we had about the flute was that it was just in Misery Mire. It didn't give us any information as far as the location. We just know it's somewhere in there.
It could be here, it could be there, it could be anywhere. Looks like Glan is heading over to finish off Skull Woods and check out the pedestal, which we already know it doesn't have anything. But it's still good to know anyway, just in case. So, again, we're retracing each other's steps, just, excuse me, just a little bit.
So yeah, and with Fantallis, you know, about to get the bow, I would say Glan's a little bit ahead, but he is going to need to make his way to Zora at some point. He needs the Bombos medallion to even get into Misery Mire.
And he doesn't even know that it's there. Flipper locked, and he already has the key. Alright, Glan going to be heading into the moth fight there. It's got a full, 10 hearts, but not much magic. So we'll see if he can make good use of that hammer like Fantallis did on round 2 of that.
It looks like he's using a combination of the sword and the hammer, but down he goes. Down the line, Molas go for Fantallis, who gets his bow.
Now he'll be able to shoot arrows as well as steely glares. And from there, yeah, he knows the flute is in Mire. He needs to take it down. He's here already. That's going to be his next stop. And then from there, the Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness, full clear that he can now do. And probably from there on, we still don't have that ice rod that we need. Did we find out if there is an item on Cold Stare or not?
I don't remember. I don't remember if we found all 3 items or not in Ice Palace on our first glance check through there.
Alright, regardless, this is going to be our first check in the Mire, so we know we're going to find a flute, but who knows what other kind of goodies lie within. So let's see what shows up here, whereas Glan is now heading over to what appears to be, I guess, the... not sure where he's heading. He
is getting some blue potion. He might be thinking about heading back into Ice Palace then. He's in the area, maybe just to kind of...
It's looking more and more likely, and having that, the dungeon saps your magic almost as fast as it saps your hearts. So he doesn't want a repeat of his last Cold Stare fight, so it looks like that is currently the play.
Looks like he's going to do some flipper locations first. So we know Hobo's only got 5 rupees. We'll see if he makes his way up to Zora, though, because that's kind of where the value is with that Bombos medallion, at the very least for him. Because that'll, if he finds his flute, it's going to tell him he can go to Death Mountain then. Because he's still just kind of skipping that.
Alright, Fantallis is going directly into... After clearing out the rest of Mire, going directly towards the basement and onward to Vitreous. With the... Oh, but it has to do this dark. So this is always a tough one to do, dark, but you can definitely do it.
Leticus, no, you actually do not need the medallion for Turtle Rock typically to clear it. It depends on key placement where the big key is.
Yeah, you can do the entire dungeon backwards, skipping through all those key doors if you really need to.
It looks like he's having a little bit of problem. I think he's still actually trying to maybe pick up that skull pot.
Yeah, I'm in the dark as much as he is in regards to that. Ooh, we're gonna have a hint check that we don't normally see. This is telling us that armor is in the Tower of Hair, not something that he really wants to see.
Use that blue potion. He's having some difficulties with this first room.
This first room is pretty tricky in that, well, you're doing it blind, and getting that Samaria block in its proper place is hard as cuss to do if you're not practiced at it. Okay, looks like he's just going to reset the room and try and do it that way. Glan, despite having the flippers, decides to set up a water walking glitch just to get to Ice Palace faster. And now he's going to be retracing his steps all the way back through Ice Palace to have round 2 versus Cold Stare.
Yeah, it just makes me think that Cold Stare is holding on to an item. Otherwise, I don't see the reason why you would do this instead of go somewhere else that has an item for you. Unless he's just kind of thinking.
It may just be more of a proximity thing because it's a bit of a trek.
I think he got it. Yes, he did.
You still have the rest of the rooms to do, but if you know the layout, it shouldn't be that hard.
Yep, kind of using that Cane of Burner to avoid as much damage as he can.
Alright, and with that, I believe, yes, fantallis makes his way out of the dark room, back into the light of justice, and is going to be delivering some swift point arrows to Vitreous.
I wonder if Vitreous will see it coming.
No, this is Phoenix Wright, not Persona 5. Although that does have some rocking music, I will tell you that. Regardless there, that's fantallis taking down another dungeon that puts him at, let's see, that is now 6 dungeons and ties up Glan in terms of just sheer dungeons cleared. But Glan may be taking the lead right back from him in mere moments as he goes down to the Cold Stare refight.
Okay, maybe somebody in chat caught this, because I know that fantallis, we know that the flute's there, and fantallis does know that the flute is there. Did he find the other item already?
Well, regardless, the bow or the flute is not really required. It's more of a luxury item than anything else.
Yeah, it's not required whatsoever in inverted, typically. I mean, in this case, it looks like it might be required for logic, but we don't need it. And there's our Ether Medallion on Cold Stare.
And, okay, fantallis picks up the Quake Medallion, so fantallis will have all 3 medallions as soon as he finishes Ice Palace, or when he decides to check Ice Palace in the first place.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of places, we've missed or hasn't been checked. I'm pretty sure fantallis checked Hookshot Cable. He was on Death Mountain.
I didn't see him do it there, but he was right there. I would be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, unless I just miss it, because I know he just checked the first 2 chests. He got the big key and then checked the next chest, I believe. Unless that was the item, because that would be the only reason that would make sense of just leaving Meyer.
Would it be possible that he just thought that getting flute was not worth searching for?
Well, that's why I was wondering, because if he found the other item in Misery Mire, if you already have access to Death Mountain. There's absolutely no reason for the flute at that point. So if that's really the case, then he doesn't need it. So just leave at that point. If you found the big key in the item, just treat it like it's go mode and finish the dungeon.
Speaking of, all that we really need for go mode at this point is the ice rod and possibly the lamp, but not really.
Right, but Glan, he is making the sequence break up to Death Mountain finally.
There's going to be a lot to check there and a lot in store for him. Most notably, that Cane of Samaria that's going to give him access to both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, we've got both of our players in dark rooms right now, although in different places. Glan is in the Death Mountain, just exiting that, whereas fantallis is in the dark room of Eastern Palace. Alright, so yeah, we are starting to run out of places to check. We know that there's nothing interesting in Ice Palace. We think we need to still find the Ice Rod. It could possibly be in the first half of Turtle Rock, because I think between the two runners, we've checked most of the other places. We haven't even found the Titan's Myths just yet.
Yeah, well, Titan's Myths in this case, the only thing Titan's Myths are going to give us access to right now is King's Tomb. Titan's Myths are actually not a very nice item typically. Like, you absolutely need it for any other kind of seed. Inverted, they're just like, oh, hey, King's Tomb. Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. But I'm racking my brains and trying to think of where else it could possibly. Well, the lamp is technically logically required to finish Misery Mire, so it must be someplace we already have access to.
I almost want to say it's one of the chests in Turtle Rock, because technically we have, with everything, we would have full access to Turtle Rock now.
That's most likely what it is, if I had to be honest.
Zero Rush Red Cane is in Paradox Cave. And I don't believe either runner has checked Spike Cave yet, because they haven't really been up here with Cane of Burna or the Health or Magic ever. So, no checks on that one yet.
Now, we do know where the cape is, but we do have Burna. Cape, where did we see that? I know we got a hint about it. Or at least we know where it is. I know that.
Yeah, I remember about the cape, but I believe it's only going to give us access to what was on Bumper Ledge, which is nothing.
Has either runner checked the... yeah, have we checked Zelda cell yet? I think we did, right?
I don't know if we have or not. That might be an outstanding location, actually.
Possibly. Now I'm starting to second guess myself here.
Yeah, we don't have access to Magic Bat, and at this point, Magic Bat is not going to be required, because we would need Turtle Rock to get the powder, and all we really need to actually complete the game now is we're looking for an Ice Rod.
Yeah, finding that lamp would make us the logic step into place, but we've pretty much done all the dark rooms that we care to do at this point. Alright, so I don't believe Glan has done the Hookshot Cave just yet. So we are gonna see what's in there sooner rather than later if he decides that he wants to check it.
Yep, we were not able. He hadn't checked it yet because he still had that rock there that he had to pick up.
Well,
There's
no,
our-
we had not checked it. With that, there's our ice rod.
Yep, so fantallis did not check hookshot cave while he was up here.
That's a very big oversight to have missed, given that that would have put him in go mode. And in fact, does that put Glan in go mode right now?
Yes, it does. Other than the lamp, technically, if he can get through Misery Mire Dark Room and Turtle Rock Dark Rooms, which he actually doesn't even need to do Turtle Rock Dark Rooms. He's actually going to go in the front of Turtle Rock, it looks like. But yeah, we are in technically go mode on Glan's side, minus lamp.
So yep, looks like he's gonna do it front ways, because we still need to find. He needs to find that big key. I believe fantallis already has.
Yeah, not sure if we found big key or not, but hopefully, fantallis goes up to Death Mountain sooner rather than later now. Even before going into Ice Palace.
Yeah, Glan has Mystery Mire and Turtle Rock to do, as well as Hera, whereas fantallis has Turtle Rock, Ice Palace, and Palace of Darkness there. I believe the length of those dungeons lends itself more towards Glan's side than fantallis' side.
Yeah, because Hera don't have to go to the basement. Even if he did, then fantallis would have also. And Mystery Mire being a God Mire, is going to be fairly quick as long as he doesn't have problems with the dark rooms.
And Glan just realizes he's in go mode, was about to start full clearing Turtle Rock, and I was like, wait, I've got the mirror, or I've got the ice rod. I can just skip directly to Laser Bridge and go directly to Trinex. Do not pass go. Do not kill any unnecessary monsters.
Well, actually, he got that big key. That's what he was looking for. And as soon as he got that, it's like, oh, I just need to find a chest, or I just need a key now. That's all.
He needs one small key, but I believe he's going to find some in one of these chests here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was at least one key here. I want to say two. Yeah, there's one of them. That's all he needs,
That's all he needs, yep. Alright, so Glan is going to be going to Turtle Rock, going to be finishing off Misery Mire soon afterwards. And then, well, no, Turtle Rock, Tower of Hera, because you're already here. Well, you could save Tower of Hera for right before you do Ganon's Tower. Well, I guess Aga 1, or... No, yeah, Ganon's Aga 1 in this case. Because this is inverted mode. On the other hand, we now have to do hammer strats on Trinex. Just to get that tempered sword damage in. Otherwise, we just have to make do with Master Sword. But meanwhile, fantallis finishes off Helma's King. That's another boss under his belt. But Glan is making some explosions of his own against Trinex, already at the 3rd phase.
And gets the double hit with the Master Sword spin. 2 hammer strikes so far. And 3.
So we've got both runners tied on dungeons here. But yeah, as I was mentioning there, Glan definitely has the easier path in front of him, and he's got go mode to boot, whereas fantallis is still looking for that ice rod, which he does not know he has skipped in the hookshot cave.
Well, save and quit, that might be a good thing. We'll see where he's going. That's not where you want to go, though. I think he's thinking Ice Palace at this point.
Well, you need to do Ice Palace certainly there, but that's going to require a full clear now, where he could already be in go mode. But we'll see if he can pull out a turnabout in this race.
Oh, there's our information on that magic cape. It was in the purple chest.
Oh, that's right. It's in the Smith chain. I knew that we'd gotten information from it somewhere, but I had forgotten where exactly.
Yep, but Glan is going to be on his way over to the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, Hera should be a pretty easy finish here, because it's a short dungeon, and we already have all the nothing that we require for it. Doesn't even bother to check the hint tile. We know where everything is. We don't need no stinking hints. In my day, we didn't have hints, and we are happy for it. But no, the hints make things a lot more interesting. So, we're always glad to have them.
Yeah, it was a nice addition to B30 with the hints. Glan picks up that armor, which he knew there was a suit of armor in here somewhere, and might have just kind of been checking. It's like, I'll check some chests on the way, see if I can get that blue mail, because, you know, life gets better with blue mail. You don't need it, but hey, it helps things out.
Exactly. It's on the way, why not, right? And we still have 2 swords to find, as well as the red mail, too. So hopefully we will be able to find finding that a lot in Ganon's tower there. But Trolldorm strikes again. We've got Glan heading down the floor. Going to be going on for round 2 versus the big worm.
Trolldorm decides he wants to have a close race, so it's like, I'm going to knock you off. Oh, almost sending him down the middle of the hole there.
But round 2 goes a lot smoother there. Glan takes down Moldorm, gets his 50 bucks, and more importantly, his pendant. So all he's got left is Misery Mire, Aga 1, and then Aga 2, and then it is on. We are in to Ganon after that.
Yeah, which I almost see him mirroring taking care of Aga right now, which that's what it looks like he's going to do.
Well, the castle is glowing there, but that's just Aga installing some strobe bulbs in here. We do not need the crystals to get in, as this is inverted mode. And we can just waltz right up the castle and take on the Mad Mage himself.
Here will be the fun part, though. As you see, Glan just entered into the dark. These dark rooms in Aga Tower, they aren't very easy. There's a lot of pits you can fall in, everything like that. So we'll see if Glan's able to successfully navigate these.
They are indeed very tricky, and we should have that lamp somewhere. Not exactly sure where it is that we have not checked for that.
Well, it could be one of the 3 chests in Hookshot Cave that we didn't look at. That would be one location. We do know there's some outstanding items in Turtle Rock it could be in. But other than that, Spike Cave, there's really not that many areas left that we have yet to check.
Spike Cave is always annoying. No one ever likes checking that. Ah, we get some light on the situation here. We've got Glan inside of that tower room. May light the torch to be able to see. So he can beat these enemies, get his key, and move onward. We haven't checked Pyramid Fairy, but we got the hint, so that all that's there is not very interesting. So it couldn't be that either. I'm still under the vague impression that we haven't checked out Zelda's chest yet.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've checked the front part of the escape yet.
We had fantallis do the dark sewer room, but that's about it. Alright, so we've got dueling bosses right now. We have Fantallis versus Cold Stare. Manages to corner lock the Puffs and gets most of them and takes all 3 down simultaneously.
The triple kill with a fire rod shot. Gets the Ether Medallion out of it.
I thought that's particularly useful. It's bombos for both of the entrances for both of the dungeons. But meanwhile, Glan is taking on Aga 1 right now. But meanwhile, Fantallis has finished pretty much all the bosses except for Turtle Rock, so he's in a desperate hunt for that ice rod now, wondering which areas has he not checked.
Yeah, and we'll see where he's deciding to go next. Meanwhile, Glan, he's going to be heading to Misery Mire.
This race might be closer than we think there. Glan can go mode Misery Mire, but Fantallis just has to skip directly to the laser bridge for Turtle Rock once he finds the ice rod and take down Aga 1. So it's a question on whether Aga 1 plus the last half of Turtle Rock is longer than the entirety of Misery Mire.
Well, Fantallis, actually, he is still going to need to go into the very front, because that's actually where the big key was. He's still missing big key of Turtle Rock, so he's going to need that first. But yeah, he needs to make his way up to Death Mountain. But we're getting our first check on Uncle at an hour and a half into the seed. Uncle,
oh, don't man me, Sonny. I've just been sitting here, bleeding out for a whole hour and a half. I'm fine, though.
Somehow I made it to the light world. I got a moon pearl. I should have left it for you, apparently, because you know what you're doing.
Alright, so yeah, all we've got left is in the front half of Escape in Zelda's. So after that, we just have to hope that he remembers that he has not checked out Hookshot Cave. He walked by it like 5 or 6 times.
First item, 10 arrows.
So we know from the hint that there is 2 items in here. One of them being, well, we always know that 2 items are in here, but one of them is the flute. Not that it's terribly useful at this point, that we've already walked everywhere that we want to.
And there's the map. So we've got 1 item left. Have to go all the way to Zelda's cell.
It's going to be an item. It's going to be a required item, but it's not going to be the ice rod.
I think Glan probably excited to see that early big key in Misery Mire. It's like, oh, I get the Godmire.
The Godmire is always wanted. Especially when we could just go, because we could just go straight to Vitreous now. No having to look for that food or anything.
Looks like Zelda's been doing a little bit of working out while she was in that solo. We got some Titansmiths there.
That was not the item that I was expecting. Are we going to be going on a fetch quest chain here?
We'll see. It almost looks like that's what fantallis is going to do, is go to the Light World and check out King's Tomb.
It will, if this ends up being the lamp, or we could make it even trollier and have it be the mushroom, which leads to, well, we know it's not the powder, but yeah, the worst case scenario is that it would be the mushroom, which leads to the flute.
Mushroom to shovel to lamp.
Yeah, that's most likely it. But Glan makes quick work of that dark rune inside of Misery Mire and is already at Vitreous's doorstep.
And Glan kicks in the door. Just a piece of heart in King's Tomb, but Glan kicks in the door, starts firing off arrows in all directions at Vitreous, takes him down, gets the final pendant, and clears his last dungeon.
So all that left is GT.
Which does mean it's time for something as well.
That sounds like fun to me. Today we have 22 items inside of Ganon's Tower. Choose anywhere between 1 and 22. We have a little bit of a fun guessing game here. If you can find where is that big key within Ganon's Tower, and you are subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels or have donated there, you will win yourself a place in fame and, well, relative fame on the leaderboard. You've got any particular favorite spots you like to have things be?
Nope, I just usually randomly guess. We'll go with 12 this time.
I'm fond of 14, which usually ends up being Bob's chest if you use the standard routing, but looks like Glan is going to be checking out full right side today before heading over to the left side. So these will be chests number 3 through 6. Oh, but we've got fantallis back on Death Mountain. Does he remember where he has not been yet?
We'll find out shortly.
And Glan finds the Tempered Sword inside of Ganon's Tower. That is a big relief, because you don't want to have to fight Ganon with just Master Sword. It works, but it's slow. You don't want to have to do it. Ah, and yes, fantallis is inside of Hookshot Cave. Finally, he's going to be finding that ice rod.
Yep, there is the ice rod. He's going to keep checking, probably hoping for another sword just to be safe.
I didn't see what was on Bob's torch, but it's clearly not anything there. So this would be 8, 9, 10, and 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that would be correct. You get that nice half magic
addition. Alright, let's take a look here. Here in the fire bar room, we have chest number 12, which is a piece of heart. Onward we go. Where is that key? And the second time works the charm for getting that little boomerang trick. Alright, and in this chest we have another small key. Keep searching. Glan, keep searching. Is it in random room? Starting to run out of places to check here. Piece of heart. There's the big key. It is indeed in random room.
So I believe that would be chest number 15, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I kind of lost count about halfway through there.
Well, let's see. Firebar room was 12. Then that would make the lava snake room 13. So yeah, that would be chest number 15.
Very good. And so we've got Glan into the gauntlet of Ganon's tower. A quick work of these mimics here. Lure them over. Arrow to the forehead. So yeah, right now we've got fantallis taking on Trinex, finally having found that fire rod, or ice rod inside of Hookshot Cave, but it might just be too little too late because Glan is already starting up the gauntlet, whereas fantallis has to do Aga 1 and Aga 2.
Yeah, so Glan does have a very commanding lead right now on this race. He's going to have to make quite a few mistakes at this point. Fantallis is going to have to finish off Trinex here, then go through Aga Tower before being able to go to Ganon's Tower and clear it out.
He is on 1.5 hearts, though, so stranger things have happened. So it's possible that fantallis can pull a turnabout right here, but it's looking increasingly dire the further we go on.
Oh, a turnabout. I see what you did there.
But thankfully, Glan pulls a potion out of his pocket and is back at full health. So, if we're hoping for a fall inside of Ganon's tower, it's seeming unlikely. All right, 3 spins to the Landmolus, takes them down, up into the upper reaches of the tower. We've got ourselves the Wiz Robe rooms here with Arcana Samaria strats, which look swag no matter how many times I see them.
All right, but fantallis, with Turtle Rock down, he's heading towards Aga Tower, which if this was normal would be Ganon's Tower, but we don't care about that. We're in inverted mode.
Yeah, Aghanim decided to put all the good stuff in, hide it in Hyrule Castle. And I was like, hey, I'm just a king, I'm just gonna move all my stuff in here. What? All these traps and spikes and the minions? No, they're just my pets, really, they are. Ooh, and Glan gets the final shot to finish off the fire rod torch room. So that would not have been fun if he had to go and get all the magic for that all over again.
No, it would not have. But he does pick up that last magic refill, and now it's on to Troll Dorm 2.
And the worm falls. Second verse, same as the first. The last chest is going to be skipped, so we are going onwards to the room of inconvenient movement options. And being able to bowl a strike right down the center, up the stairs. And we are going to Agatu, folks, ladies and gents. We've got the anti-tamer to the final boss himself.
Ooh, and a nice triple.
A nice triple indeed. And a double to finish it off. If that had not been a blue ball, that would have been a 2-cycle.
Oh, unfortunately gets none on the third one. But the fourth cycle, he gets one more shot on him.
Alright, get out your grass skirts and do the hula. It's time to fight the big pig.
Yeah, I know it's Thanksgiving and everything in the United States, but let's roast up some pig, why not?
Yeah, it's Turkey Day here, but we're going on some pig, but given how much he's been hiding from us, we're thinking he's a little bit of a chicken instead. Ooh, and Glan managing to get the good positioning in the corner against Ganon. And hook shots to safety through the fire bats. And we are already almost into Phase 3 here, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there we go. Phase 3 is officially started.
Yep, 3 more hits.
This segment of the fight is mostly a formality there. If you just follow him closely enough, he won't even get a chance to shoot at you, and it'll just cause property damage instead. But it does bring out the risk of the ever-present Ganon fall, which is entirely possible, but... oh, gets a double shot there. It misses the torch glitch, though, but getting that double shot on Ganon is definitely worth it. And another double there. That will finish off Ganon here. And Glan is going to be our winner for today's seed, as long as he doesn't walk off that ledge.
Yep, got that 3x1 platform you got to get over now. Okay. So everybody get your GGs in chat for Glan. And he is going to finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Very good job there. A very good time for an all-dungeon seed as well. Alright, so that is why we like to do AGA 1, then and AGA 2 there, because it just puts you right at the front door of where you need to go.
So fantallis is going to get to go hunting for the big key. Oh, I didn't see the mushroom on the first go through on there, so I guess Ganon was keeping some truffles hidden from us.
Looks like it there. Looks he's a little bit of a connoisseur. He sometimes complains we don't bring him anything, so maybe he's upset that we took his snacks? But just as a reminder, folks, here, this is game 1 of a doubleheader. So, not sure if we'll be able to get any intermatch interviews today. But we're going to wait till fantallis finishes off at the very least. before we go onward. Now, one thing that's been puzzling me, and seems to be puzzling the entire chat, is where is that lamp? It was logically required, but we have not seen hide nor hair of it.
I really think it's got to be in Turtle Rock. I think that's Turtle Rock, or unless I don't believe we saw the other item in Misery Mire. I think it's got to be one of those two locations.
Well, we saw that there was 10 arrows in Misery Mire and the flute, so I don't think it's in Mire.
Nope.
Unless I'm miscounting.
Yeah, so I think it's got to be Turtle Rock at that point then.
Part of me wants to just go back and check and find out for myself, but no. All right, and it looks like fantallis is not making any more progress through Ganon's tower.
Yep, I wanted to wait. I can confirm at this point fantallis did decide to forfeit since they are doing the back-to-back races to kind of get on with the next race.
Well, that's unfortunate there, but it's also good to just get yourself mentally prepared for round 2, because coming up next, we are going to be having round 2 of Glan versus fantallis. And let me pull up the settings for that. Looks like, yeah, we already have it here. Gaynard Standard Randomized Hard Randomizer is going to be our second seeding settings.
Yep, should be a fun seed. That started about 3 minutes ago or so it's going to be about 17 minutes until we get that on Speed Gaming, so be a little bit of a break intermission between the two races.
Well, in the meantime here, it looks like at 8... Oh, hold on, let me refresh this. Alright, so yeah, the Ganon Standard Randomized Hard Randomizer is going to be round 2 of fantallis versus Glan. We are also, I believe, going... Let's see, that's going to be pretty much the rest of the randomizer for today. At 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, we are going to have... Dracaris versus Elminster in a hard key sanity seed. So if you want some early morning random, make sure to check out that.
Yeah, that one should be a lot of fun tomorrow morning.
But anyway, that is going to do it for myself today there. I'm going to be passing this off to JTB very shortly for round 2. But again, thank you to all of our backstage people. We've got even more to do, but always give them appreciation, our trackers, our restreamers, and of course to our runners who are bringing us this wonderful doubleheader today.
Yep, and like we said, it's only part 1. We've got part 2. We will be kind of signing off for a little bit here. I will be back for game number 2. You still got me for another couple hours. We'll get that one. But we're going to need a little bit of a break. Runners need a little bit of a break before they started the next one. I'm going to kind of stretch, kind of clear the minds of what happened in this one. And I'm going to go take myself a 10-minute break to kind of clear my head of what happened on this one so I'm not getting the two confused.
Fair enough. That's always a good plan there. But again, I am Phantom Fox. He's been sort of links a lot. Thank you for your time, and we will see you very shortly. Have a good night, and catch us if you can.